Hi students. Up to this point in our drawing, we've looked at objects that have a constant profile which are either extruded out in a straight line or revolved about an axis or line to create a body of revolution. But what if we want to create a profile that's pushed out along an irregular guide or something that is non-planar? Okay, that's where you get into sweep along the guides. So let's do the classic example of drawing a simple coil spring. I'm going to start off by saying insert, curve, and helix. We're going to draw the spiral for the spring first. So Solidworks is saying select a plane on which to sketch a circle. So we're going to start by sketching the midline of the helix. I'll choose right on the center. Oops. Try that again. And we'll drag a circle out and dimension it. I'll do a diameter of 2 inches and say OK. Exit my sketch, and I'm back to the helix. So you can see from the dialogues, we have a whole bunch of different options. Our pitch, this is our number of turns per axial inch, so we can make it tighter or looser. We can increase the number of turns. And then we can change the starting angle. I think I'll start mine at 270 degrees. That will put it right here. Okay, that's pretty good. I'll say OK. And magically, a helix appears. Okay, so there's our guide string that we're going to push along. Now we have to have a profile to push along this guide string. I'm going to create another sketch, and I'll do the profile of my spring. So I'll dimension it as always. Oops. And maybe 100 thousandths diameter. That looks good. So now we have our two sketches, sketch 1 and sketch 2. Our helix is a feature, and we're going to do swept, boss, or base. So when we open up the dialog, you can see the first box, sketch 2. This is our profile. This is the shape that we want to push along our guide string. And the second object is the guide string. So I'm going to click on the guide string box. I'm going to choose my helix. And automatically a spring appears. Okay, and there's a whole bunch of options for different starting and ending tangencies. But for the sake of this course, if you just understand the idea that the helix is out there and that you can create a circular spring or a coil with a known start point, that's all I'm going to ask of you for this course. And I'll say OK. There's my spring. Okay, that's the classic example for sweep along a guide. We can also do some more exotic stuff. So I'll come down. Here's one of my personal favorites. So I have a profile that's in the shape of a C channel. Then I have this other weird guide string back here. So let's sweep this as well. I'm going to choose my profile, which will be sketch 1, my guide string, which will be sketch 2, and magically the frame for a World War II Jeep appears. And this actually is very close to what a car frame does look like, at least in early vehicles. Okay, so that's sweep along the guide. The important thing to know, however, when you're doing sweeps is that if the solid body were to double back on itself, the sweep may fail. So let's undo this and take a look. So as my profile is pushed along the guide string, the profile will always stay normal to the instantaneous slope of the guide. So the profile will come down through the straight section and then it will begin its swing upward into the wheel arch. Okay. If I had put this guide string in the center of my profile, the top of the guide would start doubling back on itself and it would create this indeterminate geometry, and that will cause a sweep failure. You'll get an error message, and generally you just have to move your guide string to a different location. Okay, so that is sweep along the guide, folks. Thank you for watching.